Welcome. Welcome to Abolition Democracy 1313. My name is Bernard Harcourt, and I'm the Executive Director of the Columbia Center for Contemporary Critical Thought. This year, our 1313 series is going to focus on the question of abolition, and more specifically, abolition democracy. Not just getting rid of a punitive society, but thinking, imagining, and achieving a just society. We'll be talking about issues of the abolition of the prison, of course, the capital punishment, abolishing the police, and more largely our punitive society, but we'll also be talking about issues of property and capital and oil and borders. And what we'll do is we'll not just rethink these through the lens of Du Bois's notion of abolition democracy. We will find ways to achieve our goal of a just society.
You can get used to anything. After a while, it's all the same color, easy on the eye. Some dreams, they snap, some dreams die, slowly losing elasticity, pulled beyond what hope redeems. And you wake to a sun that never blessed anyone with warmth or light or light.
In our first seminar, Abolition Today, Abolition 113, we opened with the remarkable work of artists who have been incarcerated and some who are still incarcerated. We opened with the remarkable music of men who are in the freedom trap, who are formerly incarcerated and now make music together. We opened with poetry, and we opened with visual arts, paintings by men on death row at San Quentin. In order to see the triumph of the human spirit, but also to then pose the questions of abolition today, to see what is being done, particularly here on campus, and to think about abolition for a future.
Abolition gives us the means to strip our systems bare, assess them for their foundations and function, and then measure their outcomes against such just and moral imperatives like Black women should not be murdered in their sleep. The system that delivered the indictment yesterday, and I'm sure this won't come as a surprise to anyone on this call, is an irredeemable, illegitimate system. The criminal legal system, rather than delivering any of the safety or accountability it promises, really facilitates violence, and that violence is predictably directed at Black, brown, poor, LGBTQIA, neurodivergent, femmes, and non-men. So when we see that system assume the posture of regulating itself or holding itself accountable, even on its best day, it will do so in a way that ensures its function of targeting, criminalizing, murdering, and otherwise destabling Black, brown, and poor, and otherwise marginalized communities will remain intact.
And I think about the failure of the Attorney General in Kentucky to bring charges. And I think about how the criminal legal system was never equipped to bring redress to Black victims of state violence.
Right.
And that failure happened in 1877 with the retraction of the promise of Reconstruction. And so abolition to me is this powerful framework that can exist outside of the criminal legal system, which when we do get victories, it's rare, it's not the norm. And abolitionism, an abolitionist framework, gives us the space to demand and seek restorative justice, preventative justice. So I think abolitionism is vital. Because we cannot sustain, we cannot continue as a nation. The spring and the summer's mass demonstrations have shown us that.
The criminal law and its enforcement were the linchpin to dispossess freed blacks, women, and men of their property, and of any gains they had achieved with emancipation.
Reform to me sounds like, every time I hear someone say reform, like, this is no disrespect to anyone, sort of like saying, let's buy the KKK some really nice suits. Instead of these white sheets that they wear all the time, let's get them some really colorful things that people, really pretty, with pretty smiley faces on it. And reform is just, to me, it's just another word that means robbing communities of resources that they really need and putting them into things that we don't need. Police reform. We don't need to allocate any more funds to reform the police. We need those funds to create better schools, better conditions in the Black and brown communities. The police they don't need to get better. Our communities need to get better.
We kind of need to unravel this fabric of society in a way, unravel the fabric of society, get us back to 1877, right? And then start spinning again, right?
I have so many good poems that I want to share, and I'm going to share one that I usually I don't usually do, but I think it's relevant to the topic of what we're talking about here tonight. It's called Waking Up in America.
Okay.
It says, I had a dream Dr. King never got shot, that he was alive and still in love with Coretta Scott. I had a dream that the struggle had not been forgot, and that we remembered what we went through to achieve what we got. I had a dream Black history wasn't limited to a month, and our children learned the truth in the schools where they're taught. I had a dream I never had to pledge allegiance to a flag that tied Blacks to a tree and beat them till they died. I had a dream my mother never grew up in a country where she drank water from a fountain that said for colored folks only. I had a dream that the fire inside the people didn't make police use fire hoses to drown out their cry for freedom. I had a dream Rosa Parks never went to jail, and Dr. King never wrote letters from a Birmingham cell. I had a dream the color of my skin didn't make a difference, that I was judged on intelligence and the depths of my spirit. I had a dream that this country had positively progressed, that the Little Rock Nine would never see Agenda 6. I had a dream that racism never did exist, that there was never a reason for someone to be discriminated against. I had a dream we never had to fight for civil rights, that Blacks never felt whips strike their naked backs. I had a dream our screams never echoed through the night, that we didn't have to pay for freedom by laying down our life. I had a dream slave ships didn't transport us to Florida, that slaves weren't thrown overboard if they died during the voyage. I had a dream we all were judged on the content of our character. I didn't realize it was a dream until I woke up in America.
Please join us for Abolition 213. On the concept of abolition democracy, we'll be reading the remarkable text by W.E.B. Du Bois, Black Reconstruction in America, which founded that notion of abolition democracy. We'll be reading the interviews of Angela Davis that she put under the title of Abolition Democracy. We'll be trying to understand how today to think about abolition democracy as a concept that could pave a future of abolition. Please join us for Abolition 213.